Y guru 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 guru Y 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 Giri, Y, 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 Giri,
Y, Guru, Y, Guru, Y, Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y, Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri, Y,
Y, Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y, Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y, Guru,
Giri, Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri, Y, Giri, Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y,
Guru,
Giri,
Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru, Y, Guru, Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru, Y,
Y, Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
Y,
Y, Guru,
Giri, Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru,
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 Y,
Y,
Giri,
Guru, Oi, 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 gere, 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 gere, oi, 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 gere, gere, oi, 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 oi, guru, 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 oi, guru,
oi,
guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru,
oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru,
oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru,
oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, oi, guru, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
gere, oi, 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 gere,
oi, gere,
oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere,
oi,
gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, gere, oi, guru, 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 guru, oi, 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 gire, y, 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 gire, सजे सजे अंतर्गत हो जाओ जी. Slowly start taking the chanting of the Guru Mantra internal. थोड़ी देर ਹੁਣ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਵਾਸ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਾਹੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵਾਸ ਬਾਹਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾਏ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਨਹਦ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. So as you breathe in, say Wahe with your mind. As you breathe out, say Guru with your mind. If you hear celestial sound inside, celestial music, anahad shabd, you can focus in directly on those sounds. We are going to do internal abhyas for about 8 minutes and then we'll do sasasana. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਸੋ ਐਡਮਿੰਟਨ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ 7 ਵੱਜ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਸਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ। ਸਾਸਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਮਧਮਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਚਾਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਖਰੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਿਧੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਪਣਾਈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਓ, ਫਿਰ ਨਾਲ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰਿਓ। So we are going to do Sasa Simran. Wahe is to be said in Madhma Bani, which is by whispering, and Guru is to be said out loud in Bakri Bani. Saying Guru, exhale once, and then we will start. Guru keh ke ek bari paun kad lo, te assi shuru kar den ji. Guru, 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 ਸਹਿਜੇ ਸਹਿਜੇ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਓ ਜੀ। ਗਰਮਾਂਤਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਧਮਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੈ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ। Take the Gurmantra fully into Madhma Bani, so you're whispering the entire Gurmantra. And as you do that, go internal, so you're only chanting with your mind. There's only about 8 or 9 minutes left to do Abhyas. So on Antargati Abhyas Kana, we're going to only chant internally. As you breathe in, say Vahe with your mind. As you breathe out, say Guru with your mind. If you can already hear Anahad Shabda, you can focus in on those celestial sounds inside. ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਵਾਸ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਾਹੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵਾਸ ਬਾਹਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾਏ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਨਾਲ ਅਨਹਦ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਲੈਕਸ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਮੰਤਰ ਦਾ ਜੇ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਮੰਤਰ ਦਾ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾਭ ਘਾਟ 'ਤੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪੌਣ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੀ ਆ ਉਸ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦਾ ਟਿਕਾਓ ਕਰਕੇ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਸੁਣਨਾ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਨੂੰ ਅਨਹਦ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਅਨਹਦ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਰਸ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਹਿਜ ਧੁਨ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਸਹਿਜ ਧੁਨ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਪਕੜਨਾ। So for those who are chanting the Gurmantra internally, try to find that point at which the air reaches the navel, and once you find that point, just have your mind sit there and listen inside. And if you are focusing on the Anahad Shabd, celestial sounds, try to pick up on the sound known as the Sejtun, which plays continuously and does not break in between. Try to grab onto that sound with your mind. If you have any thoughts while you're doing Antargata Vyas, while you're meditating as described, just open your mouth, breathe through your mouth. That will help decrease your thoughts. ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਫੁਰਨੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਆਉਣ ਜਾਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਾ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਖੋਲ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲਿਓ, ਉਸ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਸਾਹ ਲਿਓ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਫੁਰਨੇ ਘੱਟ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਰੂਪ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਗੁਰਤਾ ਗੱਦੀ ਦਿਵਸ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ। ਸੋ ਇਟਸ Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj's Gurta Gaddi Divas, and Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj in Gurbani, Maharaj tells us that through Satguru, the true Guru, inside ourselves a lamp is lit through the Shabd of the Guru. So as we remember Satguru Sri Granth Sahib Ji on this special day, we realize through Gurbani, through Maharaj Sikhya, that through Satgur, that inside ourselves a lamp is lit through the Shabd of the Guru. Maharaj ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਉਜਾਰੋ ਦੀਪਾ, ਬਿਨਸਿਓ ਅੰਧਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਮੰਦਰ ਰਤਨ ਕੋਠੜੀ ਖੁੱਲੀ ਅਨੂਪਾ. That Satguru dispels the darkness from inside this body and opens the beautiful chamber inside, which is full of jewels, within this temple, this body. ਬਿਸਮਨ ਬਿਸਮ ਪੇ ਜੋ ਪੇਖਿਓ ਕਹਿ ਨਾ ਜਾਏ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਮਗਨ ਪੈ ਊਹਾਂ ਸੰਗ ਮਾਤੇ, ਮਗਨ ਪੈ ਊਹਾਂ ਸੰਗ ਮਾਤੇ, ਪੋਤ ਪੋਤ ਲਪਟਾਈ. That the mind becomes wonderstruck, astonished when it looks inside. And describing the glory and the grandeur inside is a very difficult task. The mind becomes intoxicated and raptured and wrapped up in the blessings inside, through and through. So our minds that enter this area of Maya, known as Trigun, are basically jailed within Maya by Kala. Maharaj tells us in Gurbani, Sab jag bado kal ko bin gur kal afar, that the entire world has been jailed within the Trigun, within Maya, and only the Guru is free. Only Guru Sahib is free of all bondage. So Sahib Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, within this world, frees us from bondage as well, through their gyan, through their knowledge, through blessing us with Naam inside. Now, as we know, as you may know, that Diwali has just passed by as well. And on Diwali, Bandi Chhod Divas, we remember how Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji freed the 52 kings from the fort of Gwalior. Maharaj not only freed those kings physically from bondage, but they also freed the minds of those kings from the Trigun by blessing them Sangat. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji blessed those 52 kings with their Sangat and made them do abhyas within Gwalior Kila and guided their minds out of the Trigun as well. So the roots of Diwali, though, extend all the way from Treta Yug, which is often translated as the Silver Age, which comes after Satyug, which would be the Golden Age. And in Treta Yug, Maharaj in Gurbani mentions many different people from that time period. And some weeks back, we discussed Ravan, the demon king of Sri Lanka, and how he used to actually do bhakti but went in the opposite direction from God and fell basically deep into the Trigun and turned into a very evil person. Now, in Gurbani, Maharaj uses that example as to how our mind has been caught in the Trigun. For instance, in Treta Yuga, the main avatar of Treta Yuga is Ramchandraji. And Ramchandraji was the one that killed Ravan in a battle that they had. And the reason the battle took place was because Ravan had abducted Ramchandraji's wife, Sita, and had her imprisoned within Lanka in a certain spot. And once Ramchandraji and Lakshman, their brother, and their supporters found out where Sita was, ensued a battle thereafter with Ravan, and they freed Sita. Guru Sahib in Gurbani takes that as an example for what's happened with our mind in the Trigun. First of all, we must understand that our mind is also trapped in a jail. This Maya, where our mind is always within thought, is actually the bondage, the jail that we're caught in, where our mind is asleep in Maya. Maharaj says, Rajgun, Tamgun, Satgun Kaya Eteri Sab Maya. The Rajogun, Tamogun, and Satogun are Maya, Sukha Maya, that we don't see, but we know we're caught in it because that's all the thoughts we have. Either our mind will be thinking about the Rajogun, our goals, our aspirations for the future, basically anything to do with the economics of our life, getting sustenance for ourselves, for our families. And then otherwise it'll be at Tamogun, where it'll be within the negative qualities of lust, anger, greed, worldly attachment, ego, slander, gossip. Or our mind will be at Satogun, where it'll be in positive thoughts or positive qualities of compassion, humility, contentment, truth. So our mind is always at one of these three, but rarely does it step out of these three into the fourth dimension, Chautapad, into Nirvana, Turiyavastha, where it becomes free of thought. Where we become free of thoughts is our true home, known as Sun. That area is infinite. It has no limits. Our mind truly becomes free when our mind rises above these three modes of Maya, above Rajogun, Tamogun, Satogun, and becomes free of thought. The entire world that we see before us, all the minds that have entered Maya have become asleep and disillusioned within Maya. Maharaj says, Dehi guni sansar param sutta sutya ren mehani, that the mind has fallen into disillusion and the entire world has fallen asleep this way within the Trigun. So Kal has basically caught this mind in its own net, or jailed the mind, you can say. Similarly, how Ravan in Treta Yuga had abducted Sita and imprisoned her within Lanka. Now, to free Sita, Ramchandra ji had to battle Ravan. And at that time in history, it was a very difficult task. Ravan was one that had done a lot of bhakti, and he had done devotional worship, but whenever he would get to that point where he should have asked for Nam, he would ask for things of Maya, power, wealth, anything that would make him powerful within the world. Because of that, his mind got corrupted. Now, despite that happening, the corruption of his mind, because he had done so much abhyas, he knew how to focus inside, and he would focus at his navel point, and he'd get amrit from his navel, nectar. Now, that nectar that he was receiving inside made it so that he was very difficult to defeat in the battle. Ramchandra ji would shoot arrows at him, but Ravan, he would fall down as if he's hurt, wounded, about to die, but he'd come back up and he'd laugh because he'd be all healed up again to fight again. And it was becoming a very difficult task. And it was because he was receiving that nectar inside. Now, that's one of the fruits that he had earned through his bhakti. Guru Sahib in Gurbani actually tells us that no matter what, Vaheguru Ji doesn't hold someone's efforts, the wages that they've earned. Maharaj says in Gurbani, Masakat leheo majuriya, mang mang khasam daraho, nanak pur dar ve parvah, to dar una nahe ko sacha ve parvaho. That everyone receives the wages of their labor. They beg at the door of the Lord, the Master, Vaheguru. And Vaheguru Ji is carefree. Their court is overflowing. And no one returns empty-handed from God's court. So Ravan had earned this boon and was getting that nectar inside through his devotional worship from before. The thing is that because of this, he was very, very difficult to defeat. Ravan's brother, Vibhishan, he actually knew this secret that Ravan was getting nectar inside, and thus he was being someone very difficult to defeat. He was undefeatable. So Vibhishan had already aligned himself with Ramchandra ji. Vibhishan is mentioned as a Bhagat in Gurbani. And he was one, even though he was Ravan's brother, he would always tell his brother what's wrong, what's right, even if Ravan didn't like it. And eventually what happened was Vibhishan ended up aligning himself with Ramchandra ji when Ravan started to go even further in his evil deeds that he did, like abducting Sita. So Guru Sahib in Gurbani actually mentions this. Maharaj says that Gurmukhs, they connect us with the Lord. Gurmukh bandeo set bidate. Lanka luti dat santape. That Gurmukhs connect us with the architect of destiny, Vidata, which is Vaheguru Ji. Gurmukhs connect us with the architect of destiny, Vaheguru. And Lanka is this physical body of ours, which inside has the demons, Rakshish, dant inside, which are the 5 thieves: lust, anger, greed, worldly attachment, and ego. And they cause plundering of the mind inside. And our mind is like Sita and is jailed within this dragon inside our body. Now, until a Gurmukh tells us the secret to defeating Kal and his demons, Sita cannot go free. So our mind can't be freed from the dragon until we do Sangat of a Gurmukh that teaches us how to rise above the dragon, how to defeat Kal. So in Treta Yuga, what happened was Vibhishan told the secret of how to defeat Ravan to Ramchandraji. What happened was that they told Ramchandraji that he's focusing in on his navel point and he keeps getting nectar from there. Until you break his concentration from there, you're not going to be able to defeat him. So Ramchandraji took one arrow and shot it into this empty space that we see before us where the air is. In this empty space, here exists Devi Devte, saints, sadhus, those who have done bhakti and absorbed themselves into sun. This empty space is known as sun, where the air is also absorbed. In this area where our mind reaches Devlok, where we hear Anahad Shabd, we are in Devlok. That is where Devi Devte listen to Anahad Shabd and they look at our mind playing in this play against Kal and the 5 thieves. Maharaj tells us in Gurbani, Devlok is where Anahad Shabd play. Dev stane kya nishane te baje sabd anahad bani. Ke Devstan is where Anahad Shabd, celestial music, plays. And where celestial music plays, that's where Devi Devte watch us play in Maya from. Devstane kya nishani te baje sabd anahad bani. Now, in this sun, the Devi Devte, when Ramchandraji shot that arrow into this empty space, they started to make a lot of noise. They made so much noise that Ravan, who was focusing on his navel point, started to look around and say, "What is that sound?" His concentration broke apart from the navel, that Amrit stopped coming to his mind. At that point, Ramchandraji took one arrow and shot Ravan with that arrow at the navel, and finally Ravan fell down and was defeated. This is where that kahavat comes from as well, that you may have heard in Punjabi, which is Karka Peti Lanka Tave, that the person on the inside brings down Lanka. Basically, it's used in a situation where a family member exposes the secrets of the family. So that's how Lanka was brought down, through Vibhishan. In Gurbani, Vibhishan is known as a Gurmukh. And any Gurmukh that teaches us about this physical body and the secrets within. And then, when we learn those secrets, our spirit, our soul, is able to free our mind, which is jailed within the dragon as Sita was in Lanka. So Maharaj says in Gurbani, Lanka luti dat santape, Ram Chand mareo eh Ravan, Ped babikhan Gurmukh parchayan. Gurmukh Sair Pahan Tare, Gurmukh Kot Tetis Udare. That Ramchandraji Ramchand Mario eh Ravan. That Ramchandra ji destroyed Ravan. And similarly, when we get this spiritual knowledge from a Gurmukh, that Gurmukh represents Babikhan, who tells us the secrets of this physical body. Maharaj says in Gurbani that Gurmukhs are the ones that have searched within their body. Gurmukh hove so kaya khoja hor sab param pulai. That a Gurmukh is one that searches within their physical body. They search for the Lord. They search for the truth. And once they've searched inside their own body, they have that ability to tell everyone the same story of how they can free their own minds, because everyone's home is the same on the inside. So, Ped Babikhan Gurmukh Parachayan. So Ramchandra ji was successful in destroying Ravan. Similarly, our Atma Ram, our soul, our spirit, is the one that wants our mind to go towards the Lord. Now, that might be something difficult to understand, but here's how you can understand it much easier. Sometimes when we go to saints or Gurmukhs, we say, our mind, mera man jehda hai oh tekda nahi. My mind wavers too much, has too many thoughts. It's interesting at that time, we don't think about it, but basically we're referring to the mind as if it's a separate entity from us. So the one that's speaking to saints at that time, who is it? And if we think about it, contemplate it, it's our soul, our Atma. Our soul wants the mind to return home. That's why when we are within this Maya, within this world, sometimes we have to make a decision of what to do, or we go on the wrong path in life, and there's that voice of our conscience inside that says, hey, this is wrong. Who or where is that voice coming from inside? That voice is of our soul. The soul always wants the mind to go towards the Lord. That's why we should listen to our conscience when it's speaking inside, telling us what's right and wrong. Listening to it, we can go on the right path in life. So the thing is that the soul can only use as much spiritual knowledge that it's been blessed with in this area to free the mind. That's why Sangat is important. When we do Sangat of a Gurmukh, the Gurmukh's known as Babikhan, and when Babikhan gives that knowledge to the soul, the Atma, also known as Atma Ram in Gurbani, our soul can free our mind, which is like Sita, trapped within Maya. Ramchand Mario eh Ravan, Ped Babikhan Gurmukh Parachayan. So Atma Ram kills Kal inside, destroys pride inside, destroys all the five thieves inside, and all because of the secret revealed by Babikhan. Gurmukh Sair Pahan Tare, Gurmukh Kot Teti Sudare. That Gurmukhs, they can cause stones to float across the ocean. They can free the 33 crore Devi Devte, the deities that are within Sun. So in Gurbani, Maharaj also then tells us the way that in Treta Yuga, Ramchandra ji destroyed Ravana using those arrows. For us, the arrows that we are going to use to destroy Kal are the arrows of Nam. Tikhan baan chalaye Nam prabh tyaiye. That there's 5 enemies inside us, 5 thieves inside us. Panch satave doot kavan bid marne. How do we destroy the 5 thieves inside? Tikhan baan chalaye Nam prabh tyaiye. that shoot them with the sharp arrows of Naam. Harha Maha Bikhadi Ka Puran Gurpaya. That this is the way to destroy these enemies inside. And it's obtained this method from the true Guru, as Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji gives us this knowledge. And these arrows inside are also known as the 5 arrows, the Panch Shabd inside, the primordial 5 primordial sounds. Iho bhav jal jagat sabd gur tariye. Through the Shabd, one crosses over the terrifying world ocean. Antar ki dubda antar jariye. And the dubda, duality inside, that through the Shabd is destroyed as well. Panch baan le jam ko mare gaganantar tanak chadaya. That with the 5 arrows, the jam, messengers of death, are destroyed. And the bow of the 10th gate is used. So basically, our mind enters the 10th gate and it hears the 5 primordial shabds inside. And when we hear the 5 primordial shabds inside, the celestial sounds, we subdue these 5 thieves and Kal is destroyed. Jisnu Maharaj ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ, ਵਾਜੇ ਪੰਜ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਤਿਤ ਕਰ ਸਪਾਗੈ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਾਜੇ, ਕਲਾ ਜਿਤ ਕਰ ਧਾਰਿਆ, ਪੰਜ ਦੂਤ ਤੁਧ ਵਸ ਕੀਤੇ, ਕਾਲ ਕੰਟਕ ਮਾਰਿਆ. That where we hear the 5 primordial sounds inside, these 5 thieves inside of us are subdued. They come into our control, and Kal, the one that's jailed us within the Trigun, is destroyed. That's how our mind is freed from the Trigun. And this is through the teachings of Satguru, which Gurmukhs spread across to everyone that's trapped within Maya. Now, if we fast forward from Treta Yug to Kala Yug, where Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji freed the 52 kings from the Gwalior Killa. The history you can read yourselves, or you can listen to online. But if we take a look at the invisible that takes place, our minds that are trapped within the Trigun, jailed within the Trigun, they are in bondage, known as Bandhan. And the only one that can save us is Satguru. So Satguru pyara mere naal hai, jithe kithe mainu le chadai. Satguru is always with us. And as we were speaking about earlier, through Satguru's Shabd, there's a lamp that is lit within us. Just as Gurmukhs did Deepmala when Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji returned to Amritsar, and they lit lamps in happiness. And that happened in Treta Yuga as well, because we were talking about Diwali, how it originally started when Ramchandra Ji came back to Ayodhya with Sita and his brother, and people lit lamps at that time as well. Inside, as Satguru freed those 52 Raje, 52 kings from Gwalior Killa, and Gursikhs in happiness lit lamps, Satguru also frees us from the Trigun within. Maharaj tells us that Satguru Sabd Ujaro Deepa, that through Satguru we have that lamp lit inside. Now, a Sikh's duty, a Sikh, to get that prakash, that light inside, what do they have to do? One, they have to follow Satguru's Sikhya, Satguru's teachings. And they have to abstain from evil deeds. Maharaj says, in thus manner, Satguru will cut away all our bonds that hold us within this trigun. Satgur Sikh ke bandhan kat hai, gur ka Sikh bekar te hat hai. Satgur Sikh ko naam tan de, gur ka Sikh vadbhagi hai. That the true Guru cuts away the bonds of his Sikh. All the Sikh of the Guru has to do is abstain from evil deeds with mind and body. And because we've attached ourselves to Maya, those evil intentions, those vikar, are actually produced by the five inside. Maharaj says, Panch Dut Chitve Vikara Maya Moka E Pasara, that the five thieves inside bring about this net pasara of evil thoughts, evil deeds inside, evil emotions. And to cut away at those vikar, Maharaj blesses us with Gurmantar, and we do Gurmantar da abhyas. And when we practice the Gurmantar, Why Guru, Why Guru, we are basically cutting away at these bonds to Maya, and our thoughts start to dispel. Jinu mare kende vichar mare tare tare ult jo na aave. That anyone that destroys their thoughts of these five, they cross the Bhavasagar, the ocean of fear, the world ocean, and they help others cross as well. Gur ka Sikh bekar te hat hai, Satgur Sikh ko naam tan de, Gur ka Sikh vadbhagi hai. Satguru blesses us with Naam inside. Satguru is also Prakash Roop, known as Vaheguru, and they are everywhere, inside and outside. And they give us Naam inside. Gur ka Sikh vadbhagi hai. And the Guru's Sikh is very fortunate. So we are all very fortunate that we have Guru Granth Sahib Ji leading us, giving us Gyan. And when we get that Prakash inside, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness inside disappears. Diva bale andhera jai. When the lamp is lit, darkness is dispelled. Ved paat mat papa khai. Ved basically means Chauthe Pad Bani, the teachings that come from the fourth dimension. Through doing Paat, through getting Sikhya from Maharaj, our sinful intellect, our evil intellect is destroyed. In thus manner, our mind gets freed of Maya, also known as Shakti, and enters into Shivpuri, the abode of Shiv. Shiv is here used as a name for Vaheguru. Maharaj says in Gurbani, Maharaj says, Sakt gei param katya, Shiv jot jagaya. That Shakti is gone, Maya is gone, param katya. The disillusion has disappeared. Shiv jot jagaya. And the light of Shiv, Vaheguru, shines inside us. In thus a manner, our mind becomes enlightened, and our mind becomes khalas. Maharaj says in Gurbani, Puran jot jagay kat mein tab khalas tahe na khalas jane. That until our mind is free of the Trigun, until our mind gets that prakash inside, our mind is nakhalas, impure. But when we have the light shining inside, our mind becomes pure, khalas. Puran jot jagay kat mein tab khalas tahe na khalas jane. That the nakhalas, impure one, becomes khalas, pure, when that Puran, a complete light, shines within us. So, Gurbani de vich, Maharaj also then tells us that the Naam itself is that lamp. To light that lamp, we need oil, as we do in the physical world. but the oil that we use for that lamp is the oil of dukh, pain, suffering. Maharaj says, Diva mera ek naam, dukh vich paya tel. That naam is the lamp. And the oil of suffering, of pain, is poured into it. So basically, Maharaj in Gurbani tells us to channel our sadness, to channel our pain in a manner that we attach ourselves with Naam. And using that pain, which leads to Vairag, which detaches us from Maya, Vairag does, inside, light will be lit. Un chanan o sokhya chuka jam seo mel. The flame of Naam then dries up that oil of pain. Our pains go away, our suffering goes away. And then we escape ever meeting the messengers of death. And just to elaborate, the messengers of death are these 5 thieves within us. At the end, what happens is they take up those forms that take the mind away if the mind does not meet the Lord. Maharaj says in Gurbani, Maya moh pret hai kaam krodh ahankara, e jam ki sarkar hai, ina upar jam ka dand karara. That having attachment to Maya has turned our mind into a ghost. And basically, this mind ghost type, it's become within this physical body, it's in pain. Kaam, krodh, ahankar, lust, anger, and ego. The 3 out of the 5 take on the forms of the messengers of death. And inside they're known as jams as well, messengers of death. But at the time of death, they take up these horrible forms which will drag the mind away. At that time, lobh, which is greed, becomes the chains in our feet of our astral body. And attachment itself is the noose around our astral bodies, our mind's bodies, neck, which is then pulled by the messengers of death. But when we attach ourselves with Naam, our pain, our suffering goes away, and we never have to face these messengers of death. So in Gurbani, Maharaj has basically taught us that we are to get to that point of spirituality where Satguru, through their teachings, frees us from this Trigun jail and we reach enlightenment. And Maharaj then tells us, just as in happiness all the Gurmukhs lit lamps, when we go into our true home, the temple of the Lord inside, as Guru Sahib reached Harmandir Sahib, there's light and there's sounds of happiness. Maharaj says, Gurmukh jaye mile nij maili, anahad sabd bajave go, ji jant sab srisht upai Gurmukh sobha pave go. That going into the Nij Mahal, our inner mansion, once the mind's free of the Trigun, that we hear the sounds of happiness in the forms of celestial music, celestial sound. And we see light there. We see the divine light. Maharaj tells us that this temple is very beautiful where our mind enters. Har ka mandir sohna kiya karne har, rav sas deep anup jot trepavan jot par. That this beautiful temple of the Lord has the light of the moon and the sun shining in front, and in between both is the Anup Jot, Brahm Jot, the light of the Lord. And that is our Dasam Dwar. Now, Bhakt Kabir Ji in Gurbani tells us that it's important that we go into Sej, that we go into our home where we are free of thought. They say that what is the use to read or to study? What is the use of listening to Vedas and Purans? What is the use of reading and listening if we don't get celestial peace? I.e., if we're not doing the actual abhyas, practical meditation in accordance to Guru Sahib's teachings. Bhakt Kabir ji says, Kya padhi hai, kya guni hai, kya ved purana suni hai, padhe sune kya hui, jo sehj na mile soy. Har ka naam na japas gawara. They said the fool doesn't chant the name of the Lord. Kya soche barang bara. They said, what do you keep thinking over and over again? Raho. Andiyare deepak chahiye. In darkness we need a lamp. Ek bast agochar lahiye. To get that agochar vastu. That agochar means basically beyond our five senses. Something that our five senses can't grab onto. Ek bast agochar lahiye. Bast agochar pai. Kat deepak rahe asmai. And when we get that agochar gift, vastu inside, and that agochar vastu is naam, kat deepak rahe asmai, then we get to a point where we have illumination within. There's always a light shining. Keh Kabir ab janya. Bhakt Kabir ji says, now I know. Jab janya to man manya. And since I know, my mind has finally been appeased. It's accepted the truth. Man mane log na patija. My mind is pleased, accepted, knows the truth. And if people don't believe of the world, na patija to kya kije? They don't believe, what can I do? It doesn't really matter to me, because Bhakt Kabir ji says, I've reached that point of knowing the truth. So today was about basically getting to that point where we free ourselves from Triguna, but can only be done through the teachings of Gurbani, of Satguru, of the true Guru, which is brought to us by Gurmukhs, known as Babikhan. And we eventually get to that point, where we get enlightenment inside, and our darkness of ignorance is dispelled. So we have one question here on the YouTube comment section. Waiguruji, I don't understand about my situation. Like sometimes I don't realize what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, even what I am talking. If I try to remember what I was talking, I feel blank. But other days, I got so many thoughts, I feel like I can't handle them. And then Waiguru gave me thought to do Simran, and I start doing Simran, then everything seems normal. Okay, so in your situation, what you should do is you should make sure that you are sleeping fully, that you have 6 to 7 hours of full sleep, and that's important. On top of that, do your abhyas, your meditation. If we start to sleep less than normal, that less than what we actually need, what'll happen is sometimes that stresses our mind out, and it's a situation which affects our brain cells as well. Guru Sahib says in Gurbani, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Alap ahara sulapsi nindra daya shema tanprit, that eating less, sleeping less is important. But what Maharaj means is not so much that your body becomes weak that you don't eat enough, and not so much less sleep that your brain cells become weak. You need, especially in a Gristi Jivan, we need, in a householder's life, you need 6 to 7 hours of sleep. after that, on top of that, you do your abhyas and you try to go to sun as well. Maharaj prevents us from sleeping too much, which is also detrimental to us, or overeating, which is also detrimental to us. And that's why they say sleep less, eat less. But they don't mean that you starve yourself of eating or sleeping. So it's important to have enough sleep so that your damag, your brain, has proper rest. So if you concentrate on Nam and you focus in trying to go into Sun, it'll help you in this direction. Just make sure that your sleep is 6 to 7 hours. So it looks like those were the only questions today. Aj inniyan hi bentiyan san, akhar da kata pul chuk maaf karne. If I've made any mistake in speaking, please do forgive me. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh.